Hi friends, this is Marilyn from tarotclarity.com, and I have so missed doing videos for the last 2 weeks, and I apologize if any of you missed me. I've been so sick. I just got this cold. It tested negative for COVID, so thankfully it wasn't COVID, but I'll tell you what, if this was a cold and not COVID, I can't imagine what COVID would do to me. But I am vaccinated and boosted. And I seem to have caught a little cold from my grandbaby. I babysit her. She goes to daycare on the days that I'm not there. And whoa, yeah, it took me out. It took me out big time. And you can see her little Sesame Street book. So she spent the night here. At any rate, you're not here for that. It's funny. I had one Dodal Tarot deck forever, and it was the one by Fleur Noir or Fleur Noy. And it was the only one I had, And then, like how the universe works, it's crazy. Then I won a Dodal from Justin Michael. Those of you who know me probably know Justin. And I won a deck from him. I believe this was created in unison with him and Shel David, although I'm not absolutely positive, but I think Shel David and he had a hand in this together. And then, of course, my friends over at Artisan have created a new Dodal, and they are always very generous in extending me a preview of their decks. And I'm not allowed to show the deck yet, but I will shortly. So I got that one. And then I decided, what the hey, I might as well get one from Sullivan Hismans, because his are like the best of the best, right? And so I figured let's get one from Hismans. So today's video is going to be on the Sullivan Hismans Dodal deck. And let's see, I have 238. And so I figured, what the heck, I'll just do all these other decks individually, but I don't know why I'm starting with Sullivan Hismans, but I'm starting with his. So as usual with Sullivan Hismans, you usually get some cards from a previous deck. And although I already have the Budapest, these are cards from the Budapest Tarot. And it's okay to have duplicates because, universe forbid, you never know when you're going to lose a card, right? And then you'll have a couple. I've ordered so many decks from Sullivan Hismans that I could lose some of those replacement cards a dozen times, and I'll still. Well, he doesn't have that many decks out, but I could lose a few of those same cards a few times, and still have cards to replace them. So I didn't put these in any kind of order. So this is the order that it came in. Now with Sullivan, wow, you can see that he really preserves, the sense of, I guess, wash, if that's a staining or a wash. I think it would be helpful to do, or interesting, maybe not helpful, but interesting to do a comparison of the 4 Dodal decks that I have now. Is it 4? Yeah, the 4 Dodal decks that I have. Just to show how, card makers can base their decks on the same mother deck, right? And still have differences. I appreciate how he how how he does the color. The color just seems genuine. There's not a solid, it's not solid, it's like it's like, it's painterly, and I appreciate that very much. So you see it in the ground here. You can see it. It's just lovely. I mean, this isn't a workhorse deck. It's not a deck that you would pull out all the time. Well, maybe some people would. I tend to, wow, look at that. It's for export. So you see a card like this, with that kind of direction on it, or, indication on it, and you see that it's like the Knight of coin. You can almost interpret it, because the language is just as important as the image, right? So you can almost interpret it as, maybe someone, that unexpected, but maybe of a foreign place, or a faraway place, or, that it can become part of the interpretation. I'm sorry, my brain is a little foggy, but hopefully you understood what I meant. And the colors are just luscious. I think we'll see when we do a comparison with for example, the artisan group, we'll see, particularly in the clothing of kings and queens and some of the trump cards, how, they tend to make better sense of, or, better organization of the clothing, whereas folks like Flournoy and Sullivan Hismans tend to keep, the original. Oh, I got two of these. Huh. Oh, maybe I should go through it and make sure one isn't missing. I'll have to do a careful survey after this video. Put that aside. So let me, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can notice that although, of course, this is the 6 and 7, you see it's really written as 5. And what would be 3 if you did it that way, which it wasn't done that way. But 7, 8. So Sullivan, keeps it. It's kind of like as much of a facsimile, as you can get, and still being crisp and clean. So there's a lot of, wow, I have a second duplicate. Huh. So it goes from 10 to page, double page. And then ooh. So pretty. And with the 6 of Cups, Dodal, they had it correctly situated, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they got the lettering right, or the numbering. So pretty. So perhaps it's a thing with some of the aces and some of the cards. Again, the 6 is written in the way it was originally, and it just shows, that mistakes were made. You know, a lot of times people think that the mistakes were deliberate, but clearly no one intended these to be 4 swords, right? We all know that's 6 of swords. We all know that's 7 of swords. So I think some of the anomalies in some of these older decks weren't intentional. You know, maybe they were just, somebody who just didn't know any better, or they were just being mass produced so quickly and people weren't paying attention. But the game players certainly knew they could ignore certain things. Maybe some of them didn't know the numbers either, but I would think they probably would have. I don't think, although the audience of some of card players might have been illiterate, they certainly would have known their cards. Now here, the swords are pointed upward, which is interesting for the extra cards. So we have that. And I think we had all 4 suits. Let me just do a real quick thing. I'll be back in a sec. Yeah, I just wanted to check and make sure I had all of the suits. I'm just missing the 7 of coins. But I'm sure if I contact him, he'll send me a 7 of coins, I'm sure. Unless I'm hoping that maybe it's in the trump pile. So let's see. So here we have the Fool. And notice that it's called Le Fool. I love the pink. And look how, see, this is what I'm talking about, the artistry here. You see that detail? That subtlety of color? It's just exquisite. It's just beautiful. I like how he left the cat partial. Like the mystery, the way the cat just ends. So it's... Oh, whenever you get a new deck of cards, you should always check and make sure you have all the cards. That's one of the reasons why I put them in order. Yeah, twice a year or something like that, or when I'm doing videos. A blind cupid, blindfolded rather. I like how he kept, the mistake or the inconsistency here of how this becomes disjointed beyond the spoke of the wheel, right? Some decks will clean that up and some decks won't. And they're both okay, But it's nice to have examples of both. And that's why I like collecting decks, because I like the differences. And we have the anomaly with the numbering. It's not 8, it is the 12th card, but something happened and it was printed this way. Just so beautiful, just so beautiful. So, if you only have money for one special Dodal, and I'm not talking about like, workhorse quality. I'm talking about, if you want to invest money in, a beautiful Dodal deck, I don't know. I think I would go with the Sullivan Hismans. It's just a gorgeous deck, especially with the subtlety of color and the honoring of, idiosyncrasies within the original deck. Look at that Empress. She's just beautiful. But we'll see when I do a comparison of the four. We'll see, the different choices that the different card publishers made. And I got them out of order. That was my fault. But, coming out of my illness, it's real nice to open this package and see such a pretty deck. So until next time, friends, thank you for joining me today. Peace and stay well.